Hello, and welcome back to Classical Chats. I'm Hayden,
I'm Liz.
your musical friends with lots of opinions. Before we get
Too many
into...
sometimes.
Yes, sometimes far too many. If you enjoy spending time with us, before we get into today's content, if you enjoy other music reviews, historical commentary, other reviews, and other commentary about not only musical theater, but other musical shows, or just anything in general, we have a whole series on The Crown season 4. If you enjoy us, enjoy our ideas and other content such as that, be sure to subscribe down below, hit the bell notification, the bell notifications over here, and join the family. Join the Classical Chats family as it grows and expands.
It's Musical Theater Madness Month.
Whoop, whoop.
So this February, each week you're going to get a new upload of us reviewing musicals. But this week we are talking about The Prom.
Yes, The Prom, a show that I had never heard of until it was at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, 2019,
Yeah,
and
something like
then
that.
that was it. And then
Mhm.
this came out, the movie musical on Netflix, and boy was this a fun time. Serious, it made
Yes.
you think,
Yes.
but it was a fun time. But
Mhm.
in the vein of proms, Liz, how big of a deal was prom in your high school? When you were there, how big of a deal was prom?
Oh. So prom was always a pretty big deal. I'll be honest, our proms kind of every other year, it was like this group went all out on like one specific thing and then everything else was crap. And then it's just like, well, we decided to go all out on this other thing. So our like venue is crap. So I went to four proms when I was in high school.
I went to four proms
I was
too!
I went to prom sophomore year with a good friend who was a senior that I made basically drag me along because it was my best friend's senior prom.
Mhm.
Um, and so then my junior year, I went to my prom, but then I went to my boyfriend's senior prom. And then the year after, I went to my senior prom. And so my sophomore year and my senior year, they were held in the same venue that was a decent venue. Unfortunately, it was just in a strip mall.
You know what? That's fine. That's completely fine.
It was a sketchy part of town and it was in a strip mall, but the venue itself was nice inside. But then like my junior year, we held it at oh god, what's the best way to describe it? It was basically a hotel ballroom. But it was at Kalahari. So if you're
Okay,
used to
yeah.
Northwest
Mhm.
Ohio, I know that they have one in the Wisconsin Dells as well. And then someplace in New York, I think. I look back on it and I mean, I'm not with my high school boyfriend anymore, so it's just like, eh. But I had fun. I had fun.
I had
What
I had a
about
lot of
you?
fun. I had a lot of the fun at proms that I went to. So I went to four. I went to one my sophomore year, two my junior year, and then one my senior year.
So basically, we did the same thing.
Yeah, we basically had the same ratio.
Yeah.
I my school prom was kind of a big deal. So prom, all the other dances were kind of until prom, and uh,
Yeah.
they spent, I don't know how much money they did spend, but we always got a lot of great stuff. We had, when I was a sophomore, we had our prom at an old dance hall that was like big in the 1950s, and it was kind of ish
Hmm.
preserved. We had a lot of great venues and a lot of fun
Mhm.
DJs. Uh, Junior year, my high school, I can't remember where the other one I went to, but that's fine. It was at the rival high school, which was neither here nor there. My junior year, we were at this really beautiful building in downtown Columbus called the Athenaeum, and it's this
Mhm.
beautiful building from like the Gilded Age in America. Fantastic. And then we had our last venue was at Ohio State. We rented one of their ballrooms, which is kind
Mm,
of par for the
okay.
course. We had a great venue and we had a great DJ. Everything else kind of
Okay.
sucked. Everything else kind of sucked. But Prom was always a
Yeah.
big deal. I remember. But what is Prom the musical about? So Prom the musical, you follow the character of Emma, and Emma is a lesbian, and Emma just wants to go to
Mhm.
prom with her girlfriend, but the PTA says no, and the state is kind of like you can't really do that, and so it's these trials and tribulations of her trying to go to prom, but there's a fun commentary to it where they're old Broadway, well, not old, but they're Broadway actors who are down on their luck, and
Yeah.
they had great careers, no one wants them anymore, and they see an opportunity. Emma's in the news. They see, oh my goodness, we can get good PR and we can help her. So by them helping her and this journey, everybody goes on wonderful character developments, and there's a big conflict where the school goes behind Emma's back. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
And
Spoiler for
yeah,
everything. Just
spoiler for
no.
everything. But spoiler alert,
We'll talk about
the
that.
school goes against Emma's back, and they have literal prom over here, and they have the all-inclusive prom over here, but they don't tell Emma. So she shows up to the gym and no
Yeah.
one's there. And then it ultimately crescendos. That was the big inciting incident climax.
Hmm.
Then more character development ensues to where everybody sees the light, realizes they're being awful, and then there's a big prom for all. Everybody gets what they want, and
Yep.
life moves on.
Hmm.
This show was fun. This show was a lot of
It
fun.
was.
This show was a lot of fun. It's more of a musical in the realm of what I like. I like these kind of slower
Yeah.
paced musicals where you can get to know the characters. And but I have to say, James Corden was the worst part of that. Was the worst part.
Yeah. It's so James Corden plays a basically washed up Broadway actor who is gay. And part of the character's whole story arc is him being gay and being super accepting and trying to help Emma with everything, but then also coming to terms with his fractured relationship with his parents and seeing a straight man
Yeah.
trying to do all of this, as it's referred to, gay face. I'm going to let you talk about this because I have my opinions, but I am a straight white woman. So my opinions don't necessarily matter as much as somebody who is actually gay. So I'm going to turn this over to you.
Well, something we both can talk about is his American accent was awful.
Yeah, no.
His American accent was not
Yeah.
cute. His American accent, I
No.
kept trying to write down. He's supposed to be from Ohio, but where is he? Where is this accent supposed to be from? Because we're both from Ohio, and his affectations, the way he ended certain words gave it away.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
way it,
Yeah.
and we also know he's a British actor,
Yeah.
but there were moments in the show. So this show really resonated with me because the character of Emma and James Corden's character lived out and lived some of my biggest fears and a reality that I still face, which is this idea of being disowned, being thrown out, being kicked out. And I remember when I came out, that was my biggest fear because in the media, and even in this, they show that that's like a direct consequence. You come out and then you get kicked out, and it's a trope that gets used a lot. Which in here it was done effectively because it wasn't talked about. It was okay and move on. But this fear of being kicked out and thrown out is something that's still very real because it's still happening. So
Yeah.
he I want to say in the second act because it's a movie musical, they don't break between
Yeah.
acts. So I
Yeah.
want to say in the second act, there's a very powerful
Yeah.
conversation between Meryl Streep's character and James Corden's character, where Meryl Streep is looking at him, going, "Hey, we're in Indiana. Your mom's in Ohio. You should. And this is the best chance you're ever going to have of repairing this relationship. Go for it." And
Yeah.
he shares this very heartbreaking story. But for me, it pulled me out of it because I know he's straight, and
Mhm.
he actually has. Granted, it was acted very decently. It was all
It was
right.
acted well.
It was acted well, but I know he
but
hasn't experienced that, so he doesn't
yeah.
necessarily. it's disappointing for me because there are so many actors that could have easily done that are gay. There are a bunch of queers in Broadway, in entertainment, in TV, in Hollywood that could have easily played this role just as good, if not better, and have that point of
Yeah.
reference. And I had a lot of
Yeah.
problems with James Corden's character. One, I have not seen the prom live, but this movie has made me want to go see it. I want to go see it
Hmm.
in on an actual Broadway stage. I love this show; it's fantastic. But the character, James Corden's character, for me, was very much from a straight person's perspective of a token gay
Mm.
person. He had
Yeah.
stereotypical affectations. It was a very stereotypical character, which granted I like very stereotypical gay things, which is which is fine,
Fine.
but because he's straight, made it feel even more
Even more
stereotypical. It
stereotypical.
felt even it
Yes.
felt
Yes.
in some, like the makeover musical number. Oh my god, fun, fabulous! But in some ways,
Yeah.
it teetered a line of poking fun, not poking fun like ha ha ha, we're like literal making fun of, we're gonna make fun of this
Hmm.
trope of gay people doing ABC. And
Yeah.
there were times where I was uncomfortable with James Corden's character as a gay man,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
as an effeminate gay man who has an interest in Broadway and musicals and opera and theater and a lot of stuff that character likes. There were certain times
Hmm.
where I was like, this feels like a read. This just feels like you're reading
Yeah.
me, and I don't particularly like it. And the moment when he gets reunited with his mom, again, could have been more powerful.
Hmm.
And it's not hard, but that's all I'll say on the matter. Is the James Corden's character was the weak link in this. They could have easily
Yeah.
recast it with an actual gay person, maybe even a trans man. I don't know. The character doesn't have to be gay. It just has to be in the LGBT community. So it could be,
Yeah.
that character could be anyone.
Yeah. And I think it's supposed to be a larger, like more on the heavy set side, effeminate gay man. And there are plenty of those in Hollywood.
But the one problem that I have, and this is very minute and very nitpicky, incredibly
Hmm.
nitpicky. Just because a gay man's interested in fashion doesn't mean they're automatically effeminate and fairy, and
Absolutely not.
it doesn't mean,
Absolutely
and that's
not.
one thing
Yeah.
that in some ways detracts a little bit from the character, because it feels like, okay, because he does the makeover scene, he's all about this, and he's all
Hmm.
like that, he felt very
Yeah.
much like, okay, here's a character that needs to appeal to straight people because he's all these stereotypical character types
Yeah.
that media loves to present. And
Yeah.
I haven't seen the actual stage production, so I don't have a point of reference what the original cast did.
Hmm.
But that choice right there left a weird taste in my mouth. And
Yeah.
granted, this show had a lot of powerful moments, great moments.
Hmm.
And I think everybody should see the show. Everybody should see it. It's got
Yeah.
such great commentary. But that's the one thing that I wanted to acknowledge in the beginning. Just James Corden's
Yeah.
character was the one of the
Worst part.
one of the worst parts of the show. But that being said, did you have a favorite costume?
Oh, probably when they get to town, Meryl Streep's like, is it like a red jumpsuit?
Oh,
Red.
yes, at the are you thinking of when they're doing the premiere, or when she actually gets in, she has that like red cape with the fur and it's a black
The
jumpsuit?
red cape for, oh, it's the black jumpsuit. Yes, that
Oh,
one.
that was
Like the
so good.
PTA meeting. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you think Meryl Streep's character was supposed to be like poking fun of Patti LuPone?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was so I knew a little bit more about the show when it first came out, as opposed to the movie. Um, I found out about the movie and knew what show they were talking about. So, hey, there's a positive with that. Um, but they basically tried to create the four Broadway characters are heavily based on people. I don't know who exactly everyone is supposed to be based on, but I could see Meryl Streep's character being based on Patti LuPone. I could see her even being based on Meryl Streep. It's nobody's come straight out and say it. I know it's supposed to be more of a Broadway character, but if you think of I'm fabulous, I am diva, everything that I do is wonderful, how dare you say that something I do is bad?
Well, and why I think it was it was Patti LuPone is because she talks about having a breakdown about someone's phone going off, and there's that famous where
Oh,
she's
yeah.
doing Gypsy, and also when she talked about doing Evita.
Yeah.
That's where those
Yeah.
2 points was like, is this supposed to be Patti LuPone? Um,
Yeah. It is. It is. It's a generalization, characterization of Patti LuPone and maybe a couple of other actresses, but I definitely think that Patti LuPone is the main source of inspiration for that character.
what did you think of the through line joke of Andrew Reynolds' character going to Juilliard? When he first came out,
So,
there were he in the first like scene, he talked about Juilliard 4 times. I was
yep.
cackling.
So, those of you who aren't aware, people who go to Juilliard are a little, oh, what is the term that we want to use to describe them? Full of themselves, arrogant, narcissistic. Um, well, and I'll be honest, I'm giving a generalization here because it's not everybody that goes to Juilliard. It's
Yes.
just a lot of people that go to Juilliard. But it's so accurate. It's so accurate of a depiction of somebody who went to one of those like big prestigious music schools, and Juilliard is the big one that
Oh
everybody
yeah.
thinks of.
But I loved that Andrew Reynolds' character was like, so I love that they had that in there so that we could
Oh
poke
yeah.
fun at them too. But I would have to say the messages about prom and this idea of being gay in high school, I lived through a lot of what this show talked about.
Hmm.
I remember I had a guy I was dating as a sophomore, no, as a junior, excuse me. And we had talked about going to prom. It ended up not working out because my school was very weird. My school was weird about prom rules, and it wasn't until when I was a senior when things began to change. But I
Hmm.
remember when there was a lesbian couple when I was a freshman who wanted to go to prom together, and that caused
Yeah.
a bunch of stir, and it caused a lot of controversy. And if I my memory right, they started to go up the PTA and school board route, very much like this film. And I remember when I was in high school as a junior, the bullying had let up, but I wanted to
Hmm.
go to prom with him, and it just ended up not working out. We couldn't fees it. It wasn't feasibly possible.
Yeah.
He was very much the Emma's girlfriend character of I'm not out, I'm scared, so I
Yeah.
can't justify doing this. And it just ended up not working out. So a lot of there were a lot of real fears that were depicted in this musical that I really
Hmm.
appreciate that the
Yeah.
show went there, but it wasn't in a feel bad. Oh my goodness! It was in a
Hmm.
realm of like, this is why is this rule here? This is stupid. Like
Yeah.
what is this? I What did you think of Carrie Washington's performance? So Carrie Washington
Oh,
is the villain in the she's the villain. And
yeah.
I want to hear what did you think?
So I normally adore Carrie Washington to pieces, and I hated her in this show, which is great. I
Cuz
hated her in this
yeah.
movie, and she did her job. She did her job well, and there's a little bit. It might be a little bit easier to spot when you're watching the musical, but it's more difficult when you're watching the movie. You don't know whose parent this woman is for a while, but then you can start to pick up on things and come to find out this villain that is basically running the PTA and saying, absolutely not, there is no way that we are going to be letting the lesbians into prom, is actually the mother of the closeted girl.
Yes.
And it's heartbreaking when you make that realization, especially you I felt it, I could tell. I'm like, "Oh god. Oh, this is probably her mom. This is probably Alyssa Green's mother." And um it's heartbreaking, but with her finally coming to terms at the end, spoiler alert, um it's it's more redeeming. Plus, there are some other side villains that are there for like a hot second.
Yeah, those are just the high
Um,
school assholes. Like
yeah,
I've met those high school assholes. I've had direct interactions with those people. And so
yeah,
when I saw them, I was like, ugh, like
yeah,
great. I'm back
yeah,
here now. But I'm glad the show went there because as someone who was
yeah,
bullied in high school, it the show went there and I'm glad it did. But Carrie Washington, when I saw her and her react and one, there were times that I wrote down in my notes, how is she not laughing? How many takes did it
yeah,
take to get this going?
yeah.
But I've also met a Carrie Washington character where this woman
Mm,
who just can't see and doesn't want to see and doesn't understand and doesn't want to understand. That's the big thing.
yeah.
She doesn't want to understand. And I also saw Olivia Pope. That's all.
Oh
Again,
yeah,
her. I saw Olivia Pope
I
because
love
she played
Scandal.
that role so well. Scandal's so great. That's such a
Oh,
phenomenal show. But
yes.
this cast is great.
So
So
good.
cast wise, aside from James
Yes.
Corden, we have Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
We have Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, Andrew
Yeah.
Reynolds, Kerry Washington,
Yeah.
Keegan Michael Key, which oh my
Yes.
god, he was
He
fantastic.
was so fun.
So
He was so
good.
fun.
This show is
He
so
was so
fun.
great.
There's such a great cast, and
Yeah.
I want to know what like those between takes look like. I want to
Oh my
know
gosh.
because one thing I love about The Crown now is everybody that had videos and pictures now that the show's
They
wrapped
are
and they've
sharing
started,
it.
they're sharing all these videos and fun stuff like crazy, which further
Yeah.
confirms how much fun that cast was. But I want to see
Yeah.
what this cast was like. What did they look like in
Oh,
downtime, getting
absolutely.
to the set? But yeah, the love story between Keegan Michael Key and Meryl Streep just hit me right here in my feels.
Yeah.
I fell in love. Also, I want to see the show, this fictitious show that Meryl Streep is supposed to be in that made everybody fall in love with her. It's
Yes.
Swallow the Moon. Someone needs to
Yeah.
produce this fake show. Also, can we talk about how this is supposed to be set in a Midwestern high school? And the character of Emma is allowed to go through her high school day with a hat on.
Wouldn't happen at my school.
No, that would have been off the moment. And that would have been off the
Oh,
moment she walked in there and like got to her locker and closed it. At that point, they went,
yeah.
no, Miss Thing,
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
take it
No.
off.
Yep. Yep. No. Yep.
That's one thing I was like, this is so unrealistic. I like the
Yeah.
storytelling though. Everybody's in browns and blues, and she's in red and yellow, so she stands out. And her
Yeah.
girlfriend's in pink, so we see the
Yep.
standing out.
We
But
see it.
we see it. But also, I love this idea when they do movie musicals of them being very much in real life, like this literally happening.
Hmm.
So in the scene where the Broadway actors storm the PTA meeting and all of a sudden the lights are changing and everything, I love this idea of they got there early, put everything
To set
up,
that
hit
up.
it, hit it, and then came back to it.
Yes.
And
Oh, I would do something like that. I would
oh
do
hell
something stupid
yeah!
like that and set myself up for those dramatic moments.
And everybody's like, what? When did
What?
this? What? And you're like, shh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just don't ask. Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions.
But also, I also raise a question. As big of a high school that is,
Hmm.
they do not have somebody who wants to do drama. That is also shocking to me.
Tiana. Yeah.
Midwest, we love our high school theater. We love our high school theater. So that's also something I was like, really? Have you been in a high school, Ryan Murphy? Have you been in a high school recently? I also love like when they did the promposal number. I love thinking,
Yes.
now are they in between classes? Like, is this after
Is this
school?
between classes?
Is
Is this after school?
is
Is this
this
before school?
Yeah, like when is this happening? Like,
I almost saw it as like after school
yeah,
before
kind
like
of.
extracurriculars.
Yeah, in the time where the last bell rang and everybody's going to their lockers and getting their stuff out. I loved that
Yeah.
idea of the consequence of someone set this up. Someone did this, and I just love like in the very opening scene where I would love to see a musical about Eleanor Roosevelt because it would be so just
Interesting.
It would be so either, oh my god, this is fantastic, or this is so bad I want to
This
watch it
is so
again.
bad.
This is so bad I want to
Which
watch
is
it again.
exactly the reviews that came in.
Mm-hmm.
Ish.
But also, somebody was in the booth who turned the light off and then reprogrammed it and turned it back on for Emma. There's someone in a lighting booth, in a tech booth, doing that. I just love that. So did like Andrew Reynolds, did like James Corden text like, do this real quick? We're doing something like. I love that.
I think
love
it
that
was
thought.
more of a.
This is a
I love
fantastic.
that thought, but I feel like it's more of a, in their minds, they are all seeing the big picture together. They are having a group hallucination.
They're having
of
group
this,
psychosis.
but group psychosis. But
I think this show, as a queer person, as someone who is gay, I think they captured really well the feeling of, you know, bullying and bigotry, and you know, I've met those people. I've directly interacted with those people. I felt this show really, it had a lot of great moments, especially when Alyssa finally comes out to Carrie's mom, to Carrie, and it's that moment of she can't fathom, she can't process. It's just, it's in one ear, but it's stuck.
yeah.
Yeah, I've had moments like that. And that crying of, I just want to be me. I want to be myself. I don't want to be ABC. I want to be over here. I thought this movie and the musical itself captured a lot of great moments while being fantastical. I told Liz this. I love that the one moral, because at the very end, at the prom, everybody's in some form of glitter. Some form of glitter, sequin, and I love that the consequences, if you put glitter on someone, they'll just accept that. They'll just be like, cool, you're gay, fantastic. Glitter is the
Glitter and be gay.
Yeah, glitter and be gay. That's, you know, there's a whole number about it. I loved this. This was so fun. I just wished that James Corden's character was different. That's my big complaint. If James Corden's character was different, it'd be better. But I thought Nicole Kidman, I thought her wig wasn't that bad. No, Nicole Kidman's notorious for wearing wigs. Wasn't that bad. No. The wigs were good.
I enjoyed Nicole Kidman's character. I think it's well written. I feel like I know, not necessarily I know those girls personally that have been stuck in the chorus forever, but those girls exist and they're just waiting for their kind of breakout moment. And at the end where it's just like, the girl has shingles, and it's just like,
I got the role.
So you get to go on. I got the role, and it's just like, oh my god, that's great. Why are you here? And it's just like, I told them no, and they're like,
what?
No, I'm on a red eye out tomorrow. And it's like,
I'm on a red eye. We're fine. I love that. I love that. Just that's like consequence. But I also, this thought just popped in my head. So Andrew Reynolds, big claim to fame. He had other things, but what put him in spotlight was Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon, yeah.
And I love that his character in the Prom is this, again, white savior character going to talk to people about the scripture, about how their original thought about it is wrong.
Oh, I did not realize that, but that is so on the nose.
I know. I was
he's
like,
great at playing white saviors.
Yeah, he's great at playing white savior. But now he has the extra layer. He's the white gay savior. There's now that trope, the white gay savior. I just processed. I was like, he was in Book of Mormon, where he's talking about a different interpretation of the Bible and how this is right.
Child, I tried to be the best.
And you know, the controversy that is the musical, The Book of Mormon, and now in the Prom. You know, also, this musical made me miss going to the mall.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if this was in your part of the world, but this struck me right here. When I was in high school, that was the thing. After, if you didn't have any extracurricular activities, or you didn't have anything, you would go to the mall and just hang out. Maybe shop, maybe eat. You would go to the mall. And because I remember there was one day where I didn't have work, and it was like after marching band, before pit orchestra, and it was after school, and I had to go shopping, and I went with my best friend at the time, and like everyone was there. I was like, does everyone go here? What is this? Like
So for me, the mall was an hour away for us.
oh
Like,
no, the mall was 10 minutes away.
yeah,
If that. If
no,
that.
we didn't have a mall that was just 10 minutes away from us. If we did, I feel like that would have been the place for everybody to hang out.
They got that right in bigger towns with
Yeah,
bigger high schools and bigger
bigger towns, yeah.
cities. That they got
Yeah.
that on the nose because the mall that they were at looked like the mall that I used to go to. I know they shot this in California, but the mall
Hmm.
there looked a lot like Polaris Mall, where everybody in my high school,
Oh, yeah.
which where I lived,
Of course, y'all would hang out at Polaris.
oh hell yeah, we hanging out Polaris. Oh, but also, can we talk about? I have a couple things.
Yeah.
They went shopping for her prom dress the night of.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
No. That's one thing that they got the timeline wrong about prom.
Well, and here's the thing though. If she was unsure of going in the first place, I could see that happening. I think of when we went to formal and we had to pick up a dress the day of, planning on not going. It's possible.
Oh yeah, it is
Is it
possible.
probable? No.
No,
But
you would have had we were
yeah,
lucky with the dress we did find when we took our friend to go
yeah.
shopping very last minute, but they were the sea of dresses they saw. No, they would have been like as when we were there, a small area of dresses they had left over that
Mhm.
were on sale.
And I'm going to go ahead and add, for me, I know that prom season in my area lasted a long period of time.
Oh yeah.
So if they were one of the first proms, yeah, it was possible to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Another thing though, and this is just me in my prom experience, I remember girls going to prom. They didn't necessarily capture it really well, but I remember, going with your date, you would match your date's tie to your
Mhm.
dress. There was a lot of color
Yeah.
matching there, but it was
Yeah.
also the time to be the most glamorous. So there were a lot of floor length gowns, very big ball gown. There was a
Mhm.
lot of big gowns, and there were a
Yeah.
lot of shorter dresses that I understand why they
Yeah.
were shorter because they had to do very intricate dance numbers in them. So I
Yes.
get why they were there,
Yes.
but I'm also like, this feels more like home. The color story you're telling me
Yes.
is you're wearing a
Is
homecoming
homecoming.
dance to prom, and I
Yeah.
remember prom was always to the floor, if not
Mhm.
more, and
Yeah.
there was a lot more deliberate color choices between dates, and it was pictures.
Mhm.
Pictures was always a big thing. I would have loved if they would have got.
Oh yeah.
Oh, remember being so annoyed at prom pictures.
Yeah, so I think that's going to do it for us in talking about the prom. So we enjoyed it. It's a good old gay time. Pun
Bright
intended.
colors, bright colors.
Bright colors,
Bright. It's
glitter.
bright and shiny. It's glittery. It's got great numbers. I like that there wasn't a lot of dance numbers. There wasn't a lot of. It had
Hmm.
an old feel with the scoring, but there wasn't like a gigantic dance number. The pace
Yeah.
kept moving. I remember in older shows they would
Yeah.
have just dance breaks for no reason. I like that it kept the
Mhm.
pace up.
So, if you enjoyed our review of the prom, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. If you're already subscribed to us, make sure to hit the bell notification. You will get notified of any of our uploads. Make sure to hit the thumbs up, like this video. In addition to that, we also have a podcast called Classical Chats with Hayden and Liz. You can find us on all major podcasting networks, apps, or whatever. Spotify. I had a brain just malfunction there, but you can find us on Spotify. We are available on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, all of the major ones. Anchor. Find us. Make sure to just tune in there. Subscribe wherever you listen. Rate, review, subscribe. All the fun stuff. And most importantly,
Stay musical.
bye
Bye.
everyone.